Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back to Still We Persist. My name is Sienna and Alex. I use she and her pronouns, and I'm the Aya Women of Color Initiative Leadership Liaison.
Hi, I'm Alex. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the Aya Women of Color Peer Facilitator.
And for today, we just want to acknowledge that every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. What we now call Corvallis, Oregon, is located within the traditional homelands of the Marys River or Ampinefu Band of Kalapuya. Today, living descendants of these people are a part of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together today. So, on this episode, we will be talking with some girls from 3D, which is an all women of color dance group, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Rosalie. I use she, her pronouns.
My name is Mixtli, and I also use she, her pronouns.
So, like, what is 3D, and how did it start?
Okay, so 3D is a platform for women of color to break Western ideals about sexuality, gender, ethnicity, you name it, through the empowerment of dance. We initially started back in, the OGs, what we call them, started back in fall term of 2018. Some of the members that I can think of right now is Hevani Fifta, Isadora Costa Cardoso. She was the main creative director of the team, so, along with Genesis Hansen. So I don't know, it started as a small group of just 7 girls, but I don't know, somehow we ended up with 50 plus, 40 girls, I don't know, by the end of like spring term, doing a big showcase in front of the MU steps, so that was really cool.
Wow,
yeah.
That's a lot. Anything, like, how did y'all get involved? I think that's something that we were talking about a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I actually got involved through a friend. I was doing a fashion show with one of the sororities.
Oh, casual.
It was like a really last minute like fun thing that we did, that I did with a friend, and then they were performing, 3D was performing at it. And I was like, oh my god, like, what is that? Like,
that was our very first like official performance with Damn Chick.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it with
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
Was it in the MU Horizon room?
No, it was in the MU ballroom.
Oh.
It was
yeah,
like,
just
I
kidding.
liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was that one. And then I asked about, like, how do I join?
Yeah.
And I joined.
That's awesome.
Pretty much.
Nice. Yes.
Well, what's it like being an all women of color dance group?
Well, for me, if I kind of like backtrack to the main question of how I joined, I was initially taking a hip hop class in winter term. I don't know, I wanted to dance and wanted to have something fun as a PAC class, and I just did it. And somehow I was just chilling in the SEC lounge with my friend Kenneth, and we were just watching dance videos. We were just dancing there like nobody was there, and people were just staring at us awkwardly like, what the heck? And then Isadora was walking by back in the day, the creative director, and she's like, hey, what's up, how's it going? And she just like somehow asks me like, hey, do you dance? And I'm like, yeah, and me like trying to be like, oh, like I'm not really that good, you know, like it's trying to get out of it. I'm like, no, I actually just mainly focus on like Latin dance. And she's like, oh my gosh, even better. And I'm like, you're like, oh, and I'm like, I don't even know you. And then she's like, oh my God, let me get your phone. I'm gonna add you. I just went through like auditions for this dance team that I'm trying to start with some friends. And the reason we're doing that is because, I don't know, it's just a bunch of like women of color getting together, having some fun, just, I don't know, we need that space, don't you think so? And I'm like, yeah, and I don't know, somehow she, like, her excitement just wrapped me around, and I'm like, okay, like, let's do this. And then I receive a text, and they're like, oh, we're gonna meet up at this location and we're gonna, I don't know, talk about what we want to do. And then we literally just showed up and had fun. We just danced. So if you're asking me for the second question, how does it feel like? I think it feels really cool. I don't know, it's like, sounds cliche, but a family, I don't know, maybe because it's such a like cultural thing. I'm personally Mexican, so I was born and raised in Mexico and then migrated to the US 2012. So back in the day, dance had always also been just part of like my identity, but it was more of like a hobby thing. And whenever I would try to like continue that when I was here in the US, it would only be like inside my room, staring like in the front of the mirror. It's not that my school didn't have a dance team, I just felt like I didn't felt as invited. Also, I didn't want to be the only person of color in a predominantly white dance group. So that was, I don't know, finding like this opportunity in college is like, wow, like my time has come. I don't know.
Yeah. That's really powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah. I feel the same way. It's a big family. I feel like they're all my sisters in a way. It's nice having a group of people that you don't have to explain yourself to, that they sort of know what, you know, you've been through as a woman of color, because it's one thing being a person of color and then being a woman
up
of
over
color.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's nice to have that community. It's so important in a predominantly white institution. Because I've never experienced like being surrounded by so many white people. I didn't grow up that way, and so it was like really difficult, especially being stared at like constantly. Well, like just walking down the street or like, it was a big change for me. And I don't have any family here, so it was really, it was like something that I really needed that I didn't know I needed.
Yeah. So what's the team dynamic like? Is it really loving, or like what's it like being on the team?
I'm not gonna lie, at first it felt like when it was a smaller group, you got to know like the girls at a more intimate level, and therefore like the OGs or like the girls that were there from the beginning, I personally have a closer relationship. It just happens to be like that, but that doesn't mean that we still don't try to like get the other girls involved. And I feel like we all kind of are in, it's not like we have like cliques. It's like everyone just comes together, like whoever wants to like share something with the team, we're all very like accountable with each other. It's not like that's the whole purpose of the team. We don't want anyone to feel like they do not belong and like they're not being here. They came for here to find a space, and we're not gonna like take that away from them. And we want that, like even if, I don't know, like sometimes it feels like with school and work, like you're mentally like just drained, but once you show up to like a dance practice, it doesn't have to be practice, because we also just have like team bonding activities sometimes out of nowhere. I feel like you start to validate them more, and it's just like a break, like a great break for the week.
So how many like women are in this dance team now?
Well, as of now, like currently active members, I would say there's about like 30 plus, 40, counting. I don't know, I feel like people always like come and go. Like, we want 3D to be, we're currently going through some like restructure of like what we want it to be, and we've mainly, compared to last year, at least this past term, we try to focus more on like, okay, so this is what went well last year, this is what didn't. So we're trying to take away the like good things, because we weren't expecting a bunch of things, and we literally just started as like, okay, we're just gonna hang out and dance for fun, and then life happens. But at the same time, we're kind of glad that did happen. So we kind of have more of like a better idea of like what we want to do, and if we want to make this dance team bigger, what would it look like. But that was most of the like whole concept that we were thinking on. And right now it was more about like, okay, keeping each other accountable. We have to focus more on ourselves right now, because we need a break, and we just kind of did that. A lot of people were like kind of wondering. I feel like the fact that people like wonder about what's going on with 3D, it keeps it exciting, because it's like, hey, like, hold up. Like we have some stuff coming up.
You guys have to keep that mystery.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, because also you don't want to be like having a bunch of performances every week. Like, I feel like people are just like, oh, that's all they do, like dance. And I'm like, no, like we do way more. Like.
So what else, like what do y'all want to be doing in the future?
Do you want to share something from your perspective?
I guess I could, from my perspective, I don't want to speak for all the girls, but I hope that, especially when everyone graduates that was there from the beginning, that some sort of, like the message is still there, or our purpose is still there, to have that sense of community, and that the culture that we have created still exists even after we leave.
Yeah.
You know? So my hope is that future girls find it as a way to grow, or like a support system, whether that be dancing or not, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think I've learned a lot through 3D.
Yeah.
It helped me grow so much. It came at a time that I really, really needed it. So, yeah, I hope that it impacts girls the same way that it has impacted me.
Yeah, I agree with that. And something we constantly talk about is like, we're thinking, I feel like sometimes we get carried away. We think about the future a lot, like, oh, what's going to happen? Is it going to disappear? But honestly, it's not going to be in our hands anymore. If people want to continue with the group dance team, maybe they want to expand it, they want to focus on something different, like it's up to them. But I feel like right now we're like in the moment, and we want to be there, and we want to be present, and we just want to make a good experience, especially for college. College is only, 4 years? I know we have some transfer students that like, they always mention how like, damn, I wish I would have had this my first 2 years when I had more time. I'm glad that I have it now. So it's still there, like the appreciation is still there, so it's really good.
So like kind of on that, like, you know, college is 4 years kind of thing, do you guys have any like grad students in there? Do you guys get like a lot of first and second year girls, or do you get a lot of like third and fourth year undergrad students? Like what's kind of
the demographic?
Who's in 3D?
You wanna share?
I feel like you know more.
Well, if I think of like the people who started it, it was mainly like last year students. The creative director always said, I wish I would have started this way earlier. So I don't think it was a regret, but it's just like, oh, I wish I would have. But she made the most out of it, and I think we all benefited from it. So that was really great. So currently there's a lot of like upperclassmen, but at the same time, it's a mix of everything. We have, cool. I think it's more like first, second years, and fourth years. Somehow like third years are like, but we are, the demographics, when I think about like also like ethnicity backgrounds, we have a few biracial kids. I don't know their identities. I don't want to like speak up for them, but I know it's a very predominantly Latinx dance team / with like Indian, and I don't know. Besides that, like I don't know. A lot of people have made remarks about that, but it's just something that, hey, like we cannot help it. It happens to be like that. But with that said, we also want to let people know that, hey, just because it might seem that there's a bunch of light-skinned girls in here, that doesn't mean that we don't want you to come in. But also we don't want you to feel like you're being tokenized or this is not your place. That's something we always mention to people when they ask us, how can I join? It's like, hey, if you identify yourself as a person of color, that's all you need. And
that's all you need.
Yeah. But with that said, because we also have had some instances where like people question it, and we're like, but we also ask you to understand that there's a need for us to have this space. So
that's part of the argument that I haven't heard that
yes.
often before, which I think is something that needs to be really considered.
And it's not like, we're not gonna argue it, like we're not gonna tell them no, but most people are pretty understanding. So far nothing like really big has happened regarding like, oh, like who wants to be in.
Yeah.
With that said, like we're also not officially affiliated with the university.
Okay.
So I feel like that kind of keeps or like we can do whatever we want to do with 3D, pretty much not everything, but it keeps, I don't know, it's, you still have that, you get to keep that privacy and like ownership of whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so how does that work, like that you guys aren't like affiliated with the university, but you do your practices on campus and everything? Like, how do you think that the university treats your group?
Well, I'll start by like the practice.
Yes.
It was very difficult finding a place to practice. And it's difficult, I think, even for student clubs to find a place to practice, because like, you know, it's, there's not that many places that I feel, at least from experience, but it was very difficult for us to find a place. But thankfully, like DC, like the cultural centers were very welcoming, and we were able to practice there. We didn't have the greatest time at other places.
Say the least.
Kind of building off the cultural resource centers, I think it literally felt like, at first it felt like we needed to go around and knock doors, maybe like the first round, but after that I feel like they have been really supportive, and we, especially the NAL, the Centro Cultural, the BCC, every cultural center, we have some sort of relationship, even for our meetings or just like general practice, like the WGC. I don't know. We weren't questioning it that we were going to like receive support, but also we weren't expecting it to be like, yes, like go ahead, like we're gonna make an exception for you. So that feeling is like really great. That I don't know. It's like something we often talk about is that when you, as a marginalized person, as a minority, as a person of color, you name it, sometimes when good things start happening to you, there's like some sort of like mixed feeling that you feel like you don't know how to act, you don't deserve it, or like there's just something there that you're like, this is weird, like, wait, are you actually like offering me this?
Oh, that's like a different episode.
So with that, I don't know, like, at least like there's been a lot of like supervisors and like pro staff on campus from different departments. Can I name departments?
Sure.
I would say mostly like SEE, I don't know, student experience and engagement. But not that long ago, some of them actually put in their cents into like speaking up for 3D, and they made us have like a relationship with the Majestic Theater now, and because of that now we are able to use their spaces for practice. So I think that's a really cool thing.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's really necessary.
But I guess going back to like the university, I don't know, I think it's all about perspective. If you're part of the younger group of girls who are just came in, you're gonna be like, I don't see nothing different, like nothing bad with it. But if you were here from like the beginning, and I don't know, you might have a different perspective.
Yeah, I think it's the way that the university treats particularly femmes of color is oftentimes just trying to push under the rug, especially when that group is making a lot of noise about some real things that are happening on campus. And so I think that a lot of times the university is really quick to react and to just mute people, when really like there is a reason why people are speaking out against these different things. And I think that's something that like 3D did well last year, and I think is continuing to do well, especially in like the community care that y'all do. Like y'all really protect the people in your group. Like it is, it's something that I've seen firsthand. Like I'm not directly in the group, but I like to say like I'm 3D's lawyer. So, pretty much. And so it's really cool to see a group of women of color like dancing and just trying to be themselves. But it also is really sad that like y'all are just trying to dance.
Yes, exactly.
Like y'all, like it's just a way of healing. It's a culture. It's family, and people don't see it that way.
Yes.
And so I applaud y'all for
Thank you.
being really powerful people on campus.
Thank you.
Because y'all are really, like, every single committee or anything I'm on that's with event programming, everyone's like, oh, maybe we should have 3D perform. Like, oh, maybe we should have 3D perform. Like, everyone, like, whether or not the university treats you with respect, people still love you here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so I think it kind of closes in our last question, like, how is dance healing for you?
Want to take?
I've been dancing my whole life, not professionally, but you know, my mom, when she's cooking, she puts music, or like when she's cleaning, she puts music. She's always loved to dance. And when she came to the United States, she was able to kind of go out and do that a lot more. So I've known dance all my life. I've never done it professionally.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's something that's part of who I am. If I want, I could not run away from it, even if I wanted to. It's just something that I feel. Like when I put on a song and it, like, I just know what to do. And it's something that my mom taught me. She's like, you don't have to necessarily know the steps. You just feel the music, and you, like, your body will know what to do. Like, it will. You will just do it. You will feel it, and it'll vibrate through you. So it's definitely something that connects me to who I am, my culture. It's a way of expressing where you come from. You know, dance is a big part of that, like culture dances, regional dances, or even just like when you dance. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
But yeah, with everything that I do, it's like a nice little thing that takes me away from maybe like a tough day. And it's something that I will always enjoy to do. Maybe I'll get paid to do it.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Every movement allows me to heal in a different way.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you. I don't know. I just love hearing people's like personal experiences, because they're all so similar, but at the same time, everyone has like, maybe dance came in at a different point of their life. So, and kind of like, yeah, kind of like I mentioned before, to growing up in Mexico, every single dance family party, like there has to be dance. Like it doesn't matter if you're like, if you have 2 left feet, like you're gonna dance, like, or you're gonna get stared down by your aunts, and you're gonna be like, and yeah, like I don't know. I felt like I was raised in that culture of like, you have to be like spontaneous, like extroverted, but also like, no, yeah, you didn't have a choice, you had to do it. But with that said, like I said, I kind of like, I was part of a few dance teams because of school, and like I said, I would just dance on my own with friends and stuff like that. But I kind of, there was a period of time, especially high school, where I stopped kind of like doing my like if I think about like my culture, like folklorico dances, like very traditional, like that was something that I was sadly like, I couldn't continue with it because there wasn't like an opportunity for me like to do something. And it's not about like you doing a presentation in front of a crowd, like sometimes just having a space to like just be yourself. That was something that I wish I would have had, like at least in the first 4 years that I moved in the US, because that was my hobby. That was like, oh, like this is what Mixtli does when she's sad, when she's happy, when she just wants to have fun. But in college, now having this also, I don't know, I think when I think about like 3D, it also came in at a very like, I don't want to call it like a tough time, but like personally, I wasn't sure about like, okay, like, is this the major I want to continue in, and what am I doing? Am I involved enough? Like, and just starting to question myself about all these things, and just like having that opportunity to just like distract myself and like get those like endorphins released. I was like, damn, like this is what it feels like. I have forgotten about it. And I often describe it as like, I always dream of like being part of like a cool dance group. Like, I don't know, I was just never part of like a legit dance team. So when that came, I was like, well, like, I mean, I guess let's give it a try. And I was like, here I am, like talking to y'all about 3D dance. Follow us on IG.
That's what my fault was, like, how do we get involved, like for people watching?
Well, if you already know, the easiest ways that people find out about 3D is like, they literally come after us, like to talk to us after a performance. They ask us, hey, how do I get involved? Our easiest way is to like add you to our group chat after we ask you, like, hey, do you identify yourself as a person of color? We present the mission statement, and most of the time it goes well. And then we just add them. We have a big group chat on WhatsApp where we add the females. And from there, like, I don't know if you want to follow us on Instagram. It's called 3D Damn Diversians. We also have a Facebook page. I haven't updated it yet, but like, you can look us up. And honestly, if you know somebody that knows somebody in the team, just reach out. Like, we don't bite. I feel like people tend to be intimidated for some reason, but we're just college students. Like, we all have the same struggles. We just, just, if you like dancing, come join us.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. That was everything that y'all said, like, made me feel warm.
Thank you.
I'm really happy to have this conversation. And like always, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week. Bye.